Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Canadian Immigration Live Q&A. I am your host and your teacher and your instructor, Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, coming to you this beautiful July 20th. And wow, I've been away the last week and a half enjoying some much needed mountain time with the cutthroat trout and my fly rod. And it has been just a wonderful last week and a half. Super recharged, super fresh, ready to come back answering your questions about Canada immigration. Now, there is a lot that we're waiting on. There's a lot that we're hoping is going to materialize, and it hasn't. So we know that Express Entry, the rounds of invitations have resumed. The last one that we've had, if we flip over here, let's see if I can get to the right screen here. We can see here that the round of invitations last Wednesday, July the 6th, they did a small little round, and today is the day. So is this going to continue? Is this going to be the pattern? Or instead, are they going to expand the numbers? Are the comprehensive ranking system scores, which were really high, the lowest ranked candidate was 557, which is really high in a non-PNP world, although PNPs technically did pull it up a little bit with the number of individuals that they were taking at only 1,500. But we'll see today what's going to happen. We did kind of the little watch party last week. Actually, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. It's all a blur for me. And just to see what was going to happen. And they announced right in the middle of our live watch party. So that was kind of fun. Now, it was a little anticlimactic for many of you who are outside of Canada, because what we're looking for is comprehensive ranking system scores in a range where people are actually going to be able to get an ITA without some connection with Canada. And we just didn't see that last week, 2 weeks ago in the July 6th draw. So will that happen? We know that the minister has these new powers, and he has the ability to target things like occupations and other strategic economic needs for Canada. So we'll have to see what happens. But maybe even during our live today, we'll be able to do that. Now, I didn't anticipate being able to do this, and that's why there wasn't a big announcement in advance that we were going to go live, because I am in the process of preparing. Well, I'm getting ready to do a presentation on the various semi-skilled programs that are out there that transition to permanent residence across the country. And Andrew Carvajal, the lawyer who's working with me as we put together the PR Economic book for Eamon Publishers. This is just a little spin-off through LPEN, which is the Legal Professional Education Network, which Andrew and his firm, they drive that wonderful education little business, training lawyers and consultants on all aspects of Canadian immigration. So I expected to be doing a live presentation right now during that full day seminar. Well, it's about 5 hours or 5.5 hours of content, but it turns out that I'm not going to have to join in until about 11:30. So I get to join you guys live today, which is awesome. We're also going to be back tomorrow, and Alicia is not yet home from her cross Canada trip. So either Cedric or Chanel will be joining me tomorrow at 11 a.m. So make sure if you're not able to join us if you're not able to get all of your questions answered today, don't hesitate to join us tomorrow, because we'll be live again, and we'll make sure that is posted. So great to see you guys. All right, let's see who's tuning in on this lovely July 20th sunny morning. Who's first here? Amy, good to see you. Long time no see. Hope you enjoyed the hills. Absolutely, I did. All right, let's adjust this, and we'll just expand it out so everybody can see. Good. Okay, who's next? Lucas from Brazil. Olá, Lucas. Oi, como está? Como vai? Axel, always fly fishing. It is true. That is the piece. That is the one refreshing. You know, everybody kind of has their place where they go to just recharge. Some people just go into their backyard, get a book, and enjoy the sun. I love going as far as I can back into the mountains where the streams are, where I can take this critter right here and completely disconnect. And that's what I was able to do this past weekend. Although 2 days ago, I was camping with my brothers. It absolutely poured on us. I've never been so wet in all my life. But hey, I was out fishing and you can only get so wet. Once you're completely soaked, then it doesn't matter how much more it rains. So I had a great time doing that. So thank you, Axel, for pointing that out. Good to see you, Matthew, who's here joining us. Amit from Virginia. And yes, always post where you're tuning in from, guys, because I absolutely love to see that. Let's see, we've got Anarul from Bangladesh. Good to see you. Let's see here, and we'll get to the questions. So hang on to those questions in just a second, and we'll get to those. I know this is some, and I'll just hit on it right off the bat, Evo. So good to see you, my friend. He says, hello, Mark. Here's hoping for a larger draw today, plus a postgrad work permit extension rollout. And that's, you know, guys, this is something I just can't quite figure out. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why the minister is not releasing more information unless it's technical problems. And whoever's developing this new expedited streamlined portal for the postgrad work permit extensions, they're just having trouble rolling it out. But yeah, this is a big black eye as far as I'm concerned on the minister and the government, because all of you that are dropping, and you know, we had people that were their postgrad work permits were expiring literally, last fall. And, you know, to stay here and just twiddle your thumbs on a visitor status, it's just so painful. How do you support yourself? And so all these people, I think it's really cruel. I think it's even more cruel that they announced it and said it would be coming in, you know, that it would be in the coming weeks. You know, the minister pushed it back to September just as kind of a bait and switch so that you guys could see, look, we're doing stuff and here's another wonderful announcement. Well, my goodness. Just release the instructions. That's what we want. All of these individuals who are stuck. Now, with that being said, I've made a commitment to you guys that I am 100% going to be getting the course that I have for the postgrad. And I'm going to just scroll down here so that you guys can see this. Express entry. So right here, this postgrad work permit extension course, I had a lot of people who struggled last time, made simple little mistakes, and it cost them dearly. So I said, this time it's going to change. And so what I've done is, excuse me, I am releasing, in order for you guys to get your hands on it as soon as possible, the live recordings of the actual course material. So for very, very cheap, you can click on here and you can see, you can get access right now to save your spot. But what I've got here for $25 only, I'm offering live access only to the course as I create it live. So you can join in and literally watch me recording it. It's going to be rough and tumble. And this $25 US, I wanted to get it into the hands of as many people as possible, but this is not the full course. The full course will be $197 US. That's once we have all the materials and everything, and you'll be able to watch it as a recording. This is joining me live like you're showing up for a conference. It's not being recorded, at least for $25, you're not going to have access to it, but you can go right now and you can buy it. And we've got a lot of people that are piling in, and literally you watch me record it as the moment the minister makes the announcement. So I will drop whatever I'm doing and I will start recording exactly how you go through the process. Remember, guys, with immigration, it's classic. The application forms, the guides, the checklist, all of it gives the appearance that, oh, if you just follow what we do or what we instruct you to do, it's easy. You're not going to have any problems. But if I could reveal to you what I see in my consultations that people book, like who books a consult with a lawyer? Well, one, it's people that are proactive and want to make sure that it's done right the first time. But the majority of people, it's option two, where it's individuals who have made a mistake, a small one. It's not big stuff, guys. It's the little things. And with immigration's one-touch policy, the moment you make the slightest thing, the slightest mistake, guess what happens? They return the application as being incomplete. So that's not even getting to the people who've actually done things wrong and got the application refused. In the vast majority of cases, it's applications getting returned and the consequences are astronomical. So I just want to let everybody know about that. And so Evo, yes. And the moment anyone hears anything about it, let me know as soon as you possibly can, because I want to go live almost immediately. There's a couple ways that you can do it. One is to send me an email right here. Let's see if I can pull this up. Oh, I think that's behind it. It is. Okay, and I'm going to change this as well so that you guys can see it a little bit better. This is on the fly. This is on the fly. All right, there we go. So this is where you can send the email right here to Mark at Canadian Immigration Institute. If you guys hear anything about the announcements, usually I'm pretty quick and I can catch it before most people. But if you do, let me know, because I'm going to immediately go live to talk about it. And then, like I said, you guys can you can subscribe right now I tried to do it as low as I could possibly make it. And you're never, ever going to get access to a course at that low of a price, which is basically $25 when I'm doing the live recordings. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to people and let's see. We'll just flip this one off here as well. We don't need that floating around there. Okay, let's get back into here. Okay, Joan, I'm just going to whip through this because we've got a good group of people here. Let's see. So hold off on your questions and we'll get to those in a little bit. Amanpreet is over in India. Good to see you. Yes, Viba, we anticipate the draw being today. Raya, it's great to see more people tuning in from India now. This is awesome. I missed you guys. Okay. Kanjan says CIC News said they're going to do it in early 2023. I'm not sure what that means. I'm assuming, and this is where, oh, C19. Okay, well, hey, CIC News, boy, they've got people that are working on this full time that they actually pay. So they've got an operation where they're actually paying people to dig into this. So if it's early 2023 when the minister intends to use those magical C19 powers, then hey, great. You know, I'm not going to, he hasn't said anything different to me in the meetings that I've attended with him. So, hey, we'll roll with it. Okay, Arnab says, what time is the draw? Well, last time it was right after, I think, 11 o'clock, wasn't it? 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll see. Okay, Israel, good to see you from Nigeria. The IRB Fox, excellent. Bree, good to see you from Halley. Let's see here. Gishan, good to see you. And Debasish says, hey, Mark, good morning. I've subscribed with your team for my immigration. I'll give you an applause. Awesome. I'm really excited. That's awesome. We love connecting with people. All right, let's see what else we've got here. We got lots of people. Mr. Monster, an idea when postgrad. So, hey, has CIC News posted anything about when the postgrad's going to be announced? Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, Emmanuel, good to see you from Winnipeg, and Lisa's over in Trinidad. And Elikim, it's good to see you again. I love seeing these guys coming back. Lisa, hello, welcome. Alva from Peru, great to see you. Connecting in once again. And nope, we won't answer that one. That's what happens when you don't have your phone turned off. It is a busy, busy day. Let's see what else we have here. We've got Muhammad is in Beirut. Joe is in Algeria. Oh, I love this international nature. Okay, Mariana, good to see you again from Toronto. Who else is in here? Boudica, Richmond Hill, and Aaliyah says, you look fresh. Yes, I feel fresh. That's what happens when I go fly fishing, you guys. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. And Bree says, trying to get an appointment with you or Chanel, but she has absolutely no late hours. Yep. You can see that I've opened up some time on Friday, so there might be some time, but yeah, as far as late hours, it's hard on the summers because we actually want to get out and enjoy the limited evening hours, because once the winter comes in Canada and it gets colder, then the daylight disappears. So we definitely like to get away. Okay, Rohit Shanai, good to see you. And let's see here. Oh, Juvelin, avid viewer from Taiwan. Welcome. Good to see you. Okay, let's keep zipping through here. And like I said, you guys, I'm not going to be able to get to all the questions. That's how it always works. But I do like to try to give some shout outs. EJ, good to see you over in Saudi Arabia. And those of you who are up late watching this, kudos to you guys. All right, George, Canadian Immigration Institute alumnus. Good to see you, my friend. I'm doing awesome. He says, hope you're doing great. Okay. All right, let's see what else we've got here. GK. Good to see you. All right, hold off on your questions, and I'll give you the green light when you can post those. Vicus, good to see you. Anurag says Sierra's prediction for today. Okay, well, do you know what? I will, just because it lends nicely into teaching, which I love to do. If we look at the rounds of invitations here and we go back, we can see that there's a ton of people that are here. Like over 500, like there's a ton. And guaranteed these numbers are swelling. And this was right before, this was as of July 6th, which was just a couple days. So as of July 6th, this is what was in the pool. And you can see on July 6th, which is interesting because usually this is usually a couple days before. But at the time in which that took place, 1,500 was pulled out and they were all in this range right here. So I suspect if I was to look at scores and it was 557, I'm going to say if they do a small one like this, I think it's still going to be pretty high. I'm just pondering here. I'm just thinking in my head. The tumblers are rolling in my head here. 8,773. These will fill up with more PNPs because they always do. If they only do 1,500, do you know what, guys? I think it's going to be maybe 555. If they do exactly the same thing they do here, I think this is only marginally going to go down. I'm going to say 555 if they do 1,500. That's my prognostication. But we don't know. We don't know. Okay, let's see. Keep zipping through here. And I think if I haven't given you a shout out, bear with me. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys letting me know where you're tuning in from, because then it also helps me to understand time zones and things. So Kenya, good to see you. And Doll, hello to you. And I think we're at the bottom. Okay, all right. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to give you a few little ground rules here. So with the questions, here's how I choose them. So listen careful. So I look for questions that are of general importance. So if there's something that is specific that really the answer is only going to be beneficial to you specifically, and I can't stretch it out, and usually I can find a way to make it meaningful for everybody that's watching. But if you post a question that's so specific, like what should I do, Mark? How do I immigrate to Canada? Can you help me choose the right PNP? Then that's when I will ring this bell right here, okay? And that's when I will flip right back here and I will instruct you to click on Speak to a Lawyer and scroll down, and you've got options. Alicia's away, but Chanel and Cedric and myself, 25-minute consult. You can book that, and you can see that I have actually a lot of spots open tomorrow. So I have opened up everything because I was away. So it's super, super easy to get a consult booked and to get access. But if your question is very specific, I'll ring that triangle and tell you that you should book a consultation where we can get all the facts and give you advice that you can actually rely on, and advice that I'm confident giving because I know your situation. And the consult gives me the time to ask the questions I need. And let's be honest, you guys, sometimes you don't even know the information that I really need, but I do. So even though you say, this is what I want to talk about, I usually start off by asking you questions that I know I need to get the answers to that you haven't even thought of, that are going to help me give you the best legal advice as an immigration lawyer to help you navigate your way through. So how do you get your question answered? You ask a question that is of general importance that's going to benefit the most people possible. Also, questions that are shorter or concise, that don't require me to read a big, long explanation. Those are also really, really beneficial. But even then, when I answer the questions on these live Q&As, there's always a limitation to how many I can get through. And sometimes if it's skipped, remember, this is going live to not just YouTube. It's going to Facebook. It's going to Twitter. It's going to LinkedIn. And so you may see, hey, wait a minute, that person posted, you've skipped me. How come you're answering the question for that person? It's because I'm probably pulling it from different locations as well. So just a little bit of ground rules. And the final one is Q. Right like that. I want you to put a Q in front of it, and then I know that is a question that you're asking and not just communicating back and forth like you do within the same chat. Okay. All right. So go ahead. Green light is on now for you to post your questions, and I will go through until 11 a.m. Then I've got to shut her down to prepare for the presentation that I'm doing. And so fire away with your questions. We'll start off with Ashton here. And let's just see here. Okay, so Ashton says, is it okay to pick and choose work experience for CEC? I worked from January to December, but was outside Canada after October. So is it okay to put January to September in the profile, whereas company letter states January to December? Okay, so first thing, when it comes to the work history, you can put the work history in there that you want to claim points for. All right, that's the first thing. You don't need to put in low skill work experience, knock CD, because you're not getting any points for it. Okay, you don't need to put in work experience for express entry that you were accumulating while you're on your study permit, because it doesn't count. All right, co-op work experience, things like that. But you do want to include, for example, for CEC, work experience that occurred within the previous 3 years. That's knock B, A, or O, that you were paid full time, meeting all those requirements. So no, you do not need to put it all in. But based on your question, this is where I read through the lines, everybody. You need to make darn sure that whatever you're submitting is accurate. So if you have a company letter that states January to December and you weren't actually working in December, but outside Canada after October, then in that situation, you want to provide a letter of explanation to explain why you've indicated that. And it may be that you're just working virtually, right? But for the purposes of CEC, yes, you need to be in Canada. And so what I would do is I'd indicate January to October, or January to September in your profile. And then in the letter of explanation, that's why you're going to indicate, I didn't put the full stretch all the way to December because it's not eligible for CEC, and I didn't want the system to give me more points than CRS points than I was entitled to. So the key, the secret sauce, as I've said with express entry, is always those letters of explanation. And in the course, that's what I teach people how to create it. I've got templates and tutorials and resources in the express entry step-by-step course. And let's see, what are we? We're January the 20th today. That will be launching on August. Well, it's already launched. It's open and you can access the materials and all the resources right now. But August the 1st to the 4th is when I do the masterclass. So you can connect in right now, start going through all the material, and then really save your best stuff for August 1st to the 4th. All right. Okay. And there's a link in the description below. You can click to access that right now. Okay. Alan says, can you please tell us about study visas? Well, there's not much to say, really. Well, let me rephrase that. There's a ton to say. And this is an example of a question that's too broad. I need a little bit of instruction. So when it comes to study visas, I guess one thing I will say is that they are a valuable tool for someone whose CRS score is not 500 plus and is looking to come to Canada. But understand, it's not easy. It's difficult. And I'll point you guys right back here, as I always do, because many of you don't realize this. Absolutely, you need to go to Holthe Immigration Law's website, which is holthelaw.com, and go to our resource section and click on blogs, because here we are constantly releasing new blog posts that on various aspects. And you can see here, if we scroll down here, you will see that Alicia did a great one on study permits right here, which is the top 10 reasons for a study permit refusal. Okay. So you definitely go in here, check out these blog posts, and there is a ton of information in here that I could never hope to, respond to in a question that says, tell me about study visas. All right. Okay. Let's keep zipping down here. So there, good question, Alan. Okay. Nas, I'm going to pull yours up because this breaks my heart. Hello, my consultant has been keeping my CRS from me. Please, do I not have the right to know my CRS points? Absolutely. And I suspect your consultant is a crooked, illegal consultant who is not practicing under the guise of any regulator, and is probably a ghost consultant, Nas, over in Cameroon. But you have a right to everything, and they have no right to keep your CRS score from you. I'm going to show you something, my friend, and it still applies. I'm going to flip over here, and I created this, you guys, for the same exact reason that Nas has brought up here. And let me just choose the right screen. Here's the channel. I think I've talked about this before, right here. And this was specifically designed to respond to questions like this one from Naz, who has indicated that the consultant is keeping the score and not revealing to him what they're actually doing. Now, it's likely that the consultant is a ghost consultant, but you just don't know. If they're regulated, not all consultants are created equal, and some are not terribly ethical. If you go here and you look, Express Entry in Canada, there is an ability to search. And so what I'm going to search is fire. Okay, and what do we have here? How to file your consultant take back your Express Entry profile. So I did this a year ago. And this right here is a step-by-step instruction on how to reclaim your own profile, even though you've used a rep. It is yours. And so when you create, as long as you can create your own MyCIC account, you can actually pull it back to yourself following the instructions here. And I can tell you right now, my friend, if you've got a consultant that isn't sharing information with you, understand if they misrepresented something or didn't do something properly, you were 100% on the hook for misrepresentation. And the law has been very, very firm with that. The courts have been very, very firm. You can't try to plead that you just don't know what's in there. And if you've got a consultant that's playing that game with you, fire them at the earliest opportunity. All right. Tahir over on Facebook, good to see you. Okay. Sanchit, yes, heartbreaking. Postgrad expiring this November. Not sure if I should wait for the extension portal to open or do anything about it. At the end of the day, there's not much that you can do. You're going to have to just wait, bide your time, make sure your profile's in. If you haven't done that, you've got a CRS score of 450. You're just going to be in a situation where you have to wait. Now, remember, there are some provinces that pull people out, right, based on their own unique characteristics, like Alberta with their Express Entry stream, Ontario, some other provinces. So it's really important that you give yourself a shot. But the most important thing I can tell you guys is if you're working for an employer, that employer, you need to do everything in your power to get them to assist you in securing a labor market impact assessment. And that LMIA is your security. It's your insurance if the other stuff doesn't play out. Now, some of you may say, well, I'm working in a position that is not going to be easy to get an LMIA for the simple reason that there's lots of people that want the job. Well, then my answer to you is if you've got until November, I encourage you to try to find a different job where you're going to be working because you've got an open work permit in a position that's more easily supported with an LMIA. And if we go back here once again, you can see I have a course specifically for high wage positions, which is you guys, which is designed to help the employer to know exactly how the program works so you can educate them. And I cover everything from the basics to recruiting and advertising, preparing the application and employer compliance obligations, which is also really important. And so all of this in here, and you can watch a little video that I did on it, all of this is all designed to help you, work together collaboratively with your employer so that, and just to clarify you guys, all of these, once you go to the site on the Canadian Immigration Institute site, in the link below, it will take you to the courses. You can just click on this link in the top and then you can explore the courses and you can see what we have here available. Okay. All right. And once again, the spousal sponsorship is also coming up, you guys. So check that out. All right. So at this stage, there's not much you can do. And I guess one other thing I'll point out, if we flip back here to our blog posts, how long can I stay in Canada after my work permit expires? This we probably should rename because this covers your exact situation. Is your work permit in Canada expiring within the next 6 months? Read on information you should consider now. And this is a super, super in-depth discussion that Alicia put together here. That's all designed to help you understand what legal rights you have while we're hoping the minister comes around with this, with the actual express entry, the postgrad work permit extension. Okay. Manoj says, got work permit in Canada, came to India waiting for TRV for 6 months, working remotely now. Could this experience be counted towards CEC? No, it can't. You have to be in Canada. Okay. Lucas says, if I get an ITA on the next draw, can we have an idea of how long the process would take, i.e. the time from receiving the ITA to booking the flight to Canada? Well, we know that it's not going to be 6 months. So if you are, understand, like I can see right here, you're probably outside Canada if you're booking a flight to Canada. You have 60 days to file your eAPR after you get an ITA. So we had 60 days on, that's July, August, September. processing times from outside of Canada, well, we can figure out what those processing times are, right? And one thing, I was so happy that the minister actually listened to me when I was talking to him. I said, look, putting your service level standards as the processing time is absolutely useless for people. So if we go here, processing times, and we go to economic immigration, then we select, in this case, it's going to be the federal skilled worker because you're outside of Canada. Then we get processing times. You can see here, it's still listed as 26 months. Now, I personally don't think 26 months is actually accurate. I think it's shorter than that. And this is an average for all of the countries. They don't separate out one country versus another. These offices, there's manual imprinting of visas and passports. And so there's no way to really expedite the process. It takes time, and you only have so many officers. So you can see this was just updated just yesterday, July 19th. And so when you're looking at, timing, realistically, if you're outside of Canada, it's not going to happen this year. That's for certain. And more than likely, it's going to be pushing into midsummer next year, or maybe even fall. So probably at least a year is realistic. Although I will tell you guys, I have had examples of individuals who've gone through and gotten their application approved in 6 months. It's happening, but there isn't a specific way of really targeting how it's occurring, because each visa office is just a little bit different, and each individual's application can be more or less complicated, and that all plays into the processing time issue. All right. Okay, let's keep zipping through here. And Lester, you're asking about current processing times for Trinidad and Tobago. This is another issue that I run into. So if we look at Student Direct Stream, if we go here and we go temporary residence, and then we click on studying, so study permit from outside Canada, you can see here that it doesn't distinguish location. So it says 12 weeks here. And so here's what I want to tell you guys. Let me just see here. Okay, let me jump back and get to your question here. So one of the biggest issues that we're facing right now is things being stalled out. Never before have I ever considered filing a Mandamus or Mandamus application. However, what we're now doing as a firm is we're starting to take more of that work on. So Lester, if your application is stalled out and you've said you're waiting since June 1st, 2022, well, that's not a very long time. So you've just filed it. And in terms of processing, although it does say here 12 weeks, the reality is that, Mandamus is not an option for an application unless it's truly been stalled out for a long period of time. But just having filed in June, just a little over a month ago, you're right on track, Lester. You're right on track. All right. And I understand the tension if, the September is your intake. September 2022. All right. Okay. Let's see here. All right. We've got a super, let's see if we can find this one from Manna Lee. Okay. All right, Manna Lee, maybe you can post your question because I don't see it here. All right. Okay. Zipping through. Let's see what else we have here. Don't find that question there. Okay. Let's go back to our next question. Let's see if I can figure out where we left off. Okay. Yeah, Abood. This right here, Abood says, I'm eligible for postgrad. My work permit will be expiring September. When is the best time to take an action to protect myself to be out of status? I recommend that you book a consult, Abood, because we need to look at the whole situation. Everything from what you're currently doing, your employment, your experience, the province you lived in, all those factors. So I highly recommend you book a consult. You slide over here to our firm website right here and click on Speak to a Lawyer right there. And we can jump on and I can visit with you even tomorrow. I've got time tomorrow. Okay. Joaquin says, hey, Mark, would you think there's any chance for CE specific draws, how postgrad work permit holders can have 550 plus? Yeah. And that's a good question. And there's nothing new that the minister has to do. So if CIC News is saying it's going to happen in 2023, Well, there's nothing stopping the minister from doing a CEC only drop. That's well within his mandate. It's well within what we've seen in the past. So it's possible. It's possible. Okay. Samantha says here, hey, Mark, I got married after COPR and IRCC asked for documents for my spouse. However, I wasn't asked for updated proof of funds. Is this normal? Yeah. But the interesting thing is, they can ask for it at any point in time. They can also look and see what the proof of funds, that you've submitted in your original application, because maybe that's enough to encompass the addition of a spouse in your application. But here's a little pro tip, Samantha, which isn't rocket science. When it comes to proof of funds, there is no harm in adding that in and updating your file, depending on how long it's been in process, and just including it, even though they didn't ask for it. Now, one of the things that I do within the firm all the time is I go back and I review these with clients, because when you're submitting it, that spousal kit, I call it, ask for a bunch of information. Some of it goes back to the genuineness of your application, which is almost tantamount to the same things that I teach in the course itself for the spousal sponsorship. So sometimes the amount of information that they're asking when you're adding a spouse in is almost as onerous as the spousal sponsorship process. And so when I have clients, and I do this all the time, I work with them to review their applications, because you know how we operate here, you guys. With Healthy Immigration Law, we provide extensive collaborative reviews for our clients. We go through everything with them, and then together, the application is submitted, but you retain control of it. And that's how we do it with this process when we're adding spouses, because there's so many places where it can fall off the rails. One, you don't provide enough evidence to substantiate the genuineness of the relationship. Let's face it, you guys, there's a lot of people out there that will pay a lot of money for someone to add them to their express entry application as a spouse so they can get PR. We call those marriages of convenience when they're not genuine. So because of that, immigration, depending on the country in particular that you're coming from and the levels of fraud, you're then in a situation where you have to really go to work to prove the genuineness of the relationship. But it's not only there. When you file your application, you have to make sure that everything is consistent. And lots of people, when they file, don't keep a copy of their eAPR. Now, there's a link that I have that I share with my clients that you can go back and you can look at the actual eAPR information. And for a long time, I didn't want to share the link because I didn't want immigration to close that loophole. But I'm just going to put this right on, because I'm not a person who hoards information, as you guys probably are aware by now. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm going to pull up this text, and I'm going to paste that in. Oh, I'm going to paste it right in there. Oh, I wonder if that works. Maybe it will. Let's stick it in there. Oh, it's pretty tiny. I'm going to stick it right up here. Oh, can you see it? Right there. Okay, there we go. It's long, but you guys can see it. That is the link that allows you to go back and see what your eAPR information is. Now, once again, a little pro tip, because it's all about helping you guys. And I'm sure you've seen other YouTube channels when people started releasing it. And I've shared it with people in the course all the time. So I'm assuming someone probably wanted to be really helpful to the world and then share it. And it still works. I just hope that, they don't close off that avenue of accessing. But essentially what you do is you log into your MyCIC account, go into your submitted eAPR application, and open up your document checklist, because that's all that you can do when you view submitted applications. Go back in and open that up, and then open a new browser window and paste that link in, and then it will open up a view only of your eAPR. And why I'm saying that, it's because, Samantha, when you're adding a spouse, you want to make sure if they ask for an updated background declaration form for you, or generic information, the IMM 008 equivalent, that the information you're putting in that is consistent with the previous one, because there's nothing you'd want more, less than to be alleged to have misrepresented yourself or have an officer question your original application for the simple reason that, there's inconsistency. And that inconsistency is what I hunt for with clients. And understand, you guys, when I'm working with people, I absolutely do not just let them drive the ship. And what I mean by that is I don't just simply respond to the questions people ask, because you guys don't know all the questions you need to be asking me. But the fortunate thing is I've done this so much over the last, it's all a blur now, I guess for 2022, 17, 18 years, whatever it is. I've learned what immigration looks for. So I don't wait for you guys to ask me the questions. That's why we charge what we do for the 25-minute consult. You may think the information that, what you need answers to, and I definitely answer them. But myself and the other lawyers within the firm, we look way beyond that, and we actually ask the question for you that you should be asking so that we can give you the full comprehensive advice. And that's pretty much how it works when it comes to adding a spouse. So there's lots of areas for pitfalls, and sometimes the instructions aren't detailed, and then you have to be creative. All right. Okay, let's see what else we have here. And I'm just going to take a quick peek at my email and make sure that I am not missing my time to jump on the live presentation. Okay, looks like we're still good there. Okay, let's jump into, I think we've got a super that popped in. Okay, there. Okay. All right, so we've got a little bit. So Manali says, my current CEC score is 495. You were close, Manali. If they were to do a CEC only draw, I think that there's actually a good chance that if they did CEC only, that it could drop down to that level. So I believe there is a chance at 495. Now, I don't know when your work permit's expiring. I don't know if there's any other mechanism for you to increase the score even more while you're waiting. But yeah, 495 is not bad. And depending upon the timing, I believe that it will eventually get down to that level. And if they were to do a CEC only draw, I think you'd have a really good shot at getting drawn. Will 2 unrelated knocks be a problem for CEC? No. You can combine the knocks. Remember, it doesn't need to be continuous. It just needs to be 1 year within the previous 3 years. And we go over that in detail, Manali, in the Express Entry course. I just don't have enough time to go through all of this. And part of the reason that I created the course in the first place was so that I could pour all of my knowledge and information into this course to talk about all of those things that you're talking about, like the questions that you have right now. And you can scroll down, and this is just an example of the modules. And August the 1st, which is basically a little over a week, that's when I do the live Q&A, which is really in the form of a master class. And you can see there are a ton. There's like 52 or 50, I can't remember. This is growing all the time. But we cover all of this in detail, including how Express Entry, the system works, and eligibility right here for CEC. We cover your question specifically in depth right in this one right here. So I just want to point that out because lots of people, they just jump on quick and then I talk about it, but then they don't see it. The link is below and you can click on and get access to all of that right now and then join. And I'd love for people to do it early, because everybody waits until the last minute. Like they decide, okay, well, it's going to go on August the 1st is when it's going to launch. And so I'll just purchase, July 31st. And that's fine. Like it's nothing to me, but I opened it up early so that you guys could access it and start going through the over 10 hours of content that I have, so that when the masterclass comes and the time for doing that, August the 1st to the 4th is when it arrives, then the questions you're going to be able to ask are going to be far more specific and helpful versus just asking something that I've already posted in the course material. Okay. So there we go. That's a great question though, Manali. And I will give you actually this one here. Awesome. Okay. Let's see here. What is next? Okay. Let's pull one from Facebook. Okay, so this one, hey Mark, our CRS points are 494 and TEF results are expiring in the first week of November. Do you think we can get an ITA before that? I'm a Francophone, but still not being able to pick any province. That's really disheartening. Please guide. Okay, if you're a Francophone, one thing, have you considered going through the Francophone, the Mobilité work permit? If you're stuck and it doesn't say what your work permit is. Maybe you're currently working on one of the Francophone work permits, but that gives you a lot more flexibility because it's employer specific and there's no caps on it, and that will protect you. But yeah, as far as the TEF expiring, I would actually rewrite it. I would always have that thing fresh. I would never leave it into a situation. And one of the main areas where people trip up is when the government does some crazy new program and announces, oh, you just need your language test or your ECA, or you need to have your medical or police certificate, ready to go. Well, the reality is lots of times people miss out on those programs because they don't have a valid language test or just expired. And so don't fall into that trap. Stay on top of it. And that's one of the things that I talk about a lot in the previous, let me just jump back here and see if I can get to the videos. I can't remember what's been posted and what isn't posted. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Yes. Postgrad 18-month extension, avoiding mistakes. Yes. So this one here, I went in depth into some of the key strategies that I provide to my clients just to make sure that they're ready when the minister actually announces that program. But for you, I would consider, yes, extending that TEF, writing the test again. Okay, this is a great question, Swati. Okay, I reapplied for my student visa on June 9th as I received my refusal on the 1st of April. September 7th, the classes start. Can you help and fast track my visa process or any immigration lawyer that can help me help? Swati, this is very little to do with fast tracking and more to do with the fact your first one was refused. That breaks my heart because when you've had one refusal, it is that much more difficult to secure an approval on the second one. And I see time, I don't know if you received help from, from a representative, whether you filed it on your own, Swati, but no, nobody can fast track. Don't believe anyone who says they can. The government is a first in, first out process. If they've stalled and your application is taking way longer than other people, yes, I can go to federal court. I can file a Mandamus or Mandamus application, and which forces the government to start processing your file and moving it forward. But in your situation, if it's within the regular processing times or it's not like out in the stratosphere in terms of how long you've been waiting, like inordinately long, then in that situation, no, don't trust anyone who says that they can fast track. It's more of a concern as to whether or not you did it right in the first place. And if you book a consult, Swati, that's something that I can look at. That's something we can examine. But yeah, it's tough. I hope that you've got some assistance. Okay. Okay, Cameron, we already answered this one, Nas. Already shared that in detail with you. So yes, yeah, you have a right for him to share the information. And if not, like I told you guys before, you can go, you can actually go to the YouTube channel and pull up the how to fire my consultant and pull back my express entry application. That's what I recommend you do. Okay. Okay. Tahir says over on Facebook, I got approval letter from the ITA, Red Seal. I think ITA Red Seal for a plumber exam. Okay, I'm not sure which province you're referring to, but what kind of visa I have to apply. You need an employer who's willing to support you with a work permit. They have to get a labor market impact assessment for you to be able to come. That's how it works to here. And then, with your Red Seal, then you can come on a work permit. When it comes to express entry, the Federal Skilled Trade Program is also a possibility for you. And once again, how do I apply? Book a consult. Okay. Okay. Raya says, for spousal sponsorship, what can be shown for financial evaluation of the sponsor if she doesn't have any job in Canada? You've got a serious likelihood an application will get refused if you can't show that you can support your spouse when you're in Canada. Yeah, if you don't have any job in Canada now, I've seen immigration actually refuse a spousal sponsorship because you have an obligation by law to care for the basic necessities of life for the person you're sponsoring. And if you can't do that, then you're putting yourself into a position where immigration could refuse because you need to show that you've got income coming in or a means of supporting yourself. That's non-negotiable. There's no low income cutoff amount, but you need to be able to demonstrate that you can support your spouse. I recommend, Raya, that you slide over to our site right here and that you book a consult. That's what I recommend so that we can go through this and actually get you up to speed. There's nothing worse than going through that whole process and then having immigration refuse based on something that 100% could have been fixed. I'll also point out, I guess, as I've done before, that I do have this spousal sponsorship course that you can access now, but August 15th to the 19th is when I do the master class. And so this is where I teach people how to follow your own spousal sponsorship application right the first time. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see here what we can jump in. Okay, Joe, he says, a friend of mine, I love this. Everybody's got friends, right? Wanted really to go through the procedure of coming using the visitor visa and then trying to flip a job, to basically find a job to flip his visa. So how much official that procedure is possible. So Joe, I worked on the border as an officer, and officers on the border can be jerks. And if you come as a visitor, one of the main questions that they ask is, well, did you disclose what the purpose of your entry to Canada was? Why you're applying for your visit? Did you disclose what the purpose of that visit was? And many times, what do you put? I'm coming for a holiday or a visit. And then when you arrive, find a job, and then decide to go down to the border, some ports of entry will allege misrepresentation and send the person home. And at times even attempt to issue exclusion orders. But usually what they do is they say, you're allowed to leave. You can withdraw your application, but you have to go home. That's what they do at some ports of entry. I absolutely hate this process. I think it's extremely volatile. Can it work? Yes, it can in some instances. You come as a visitor, you have an interview with an employer, which is totally legit. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what happens is then people sit around for months and months and months, longer than maybe they initially indicated on their visitor visa, waiting for the employer to get a labor market impact assessment. And you know what? Those things take time. Advertising, getting the approval. And then once you've got it, then people, some representatives encourage their clients to then go down to the border and try their luck. And here's the dichotomy with this. You get efficiency, yes. But do you get a better result with that faster decision? Not necessarily. And it can go it can go sideways or south in a hurry. And one of the main reasons is people often, the employer will say, hey, can you come in and just do a little bit of training for me? Or I'm short staffed. Can you just start a little bit early? Illegal work. And then the officers find it out. They bar you from Canada. And yeah, all of that effort is over. Can you do it? Yes. Is it a volatile process? Yes. Okay. Familiosi says, if there are over 2.4 million applications in the backlog, why does the RCC keep inviting people? Aren't the 2.4 million enough to reach the immigration goals for years to come? Familia, 2.4 million is not PR. This is all categories of applications, visitors, workers, students. This is where people just love big headlines, and 2.4 million applications is not how many PRs are in the backlog when it comes to inviting people through the express entry permanent resident route. There's tons of students, tons of workers, tons of visitors, and those are included in those numbers. So those numbers are kind of shocking numbers, but no, it's distributed across all lines, right? All lines of business. Samantha, what are the processing times for adding a spouse? It depends on the country. That's the difficult part. Depends on the country. I've had some people that have been sitting for, almost a year waiting for their spouse to be added and their PR to be finalized. Okay, we'll go a couple more here. I've got 3 minutes and then I'm going to wrap it up. I'm just going to check if I'm not missing any supers. Okay, let's see what we have here. Reshmi's back. When would knock draws be? Would PNPs be affected then? Well, Reshmi, someone posted that CIC News said 2023. If that's the case, well, then maybe that's the case. We just don't know. That's the thing. It's all speculation. It's an ATIP that then forces out of the woodwork some internal directive from, from a program manager or one of the deputy ministers or something like that, right? So we just don't know. Would PNPs be affected then? Well, only so much as the PNPs have their own allotment, and whatever the feds do, it doesn't really make a difference to them unless the feds are stealing away candidates, which would be to your benefit, like they did with the big Draw 176 on February the 13th of last year, when they invited 27,332 people. Well, yeah, that took away candidates for the PNP program. So it actually caused the PNPs to have to expand their nets and try to pull more people in that were currently in Canada and abroad. So yes. Okay. All right. We are at the end, you guys. We're going to wrap it up there because yes, I do have to get back to my preparations for the seminar that I'm going to be giving. I know I didn't get through everybody's questions, and no, tomorrow I will be back 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Either Cedric or Chanel will be joining me, and we'll be here and available to answer more of your questions. If you are not getting your question answered, understand that these are general. These are designed to give general information. They're not designed to give you specific information because I don't have the facts, and I can't give legal advice when I don't have the facts. And the way we do that is through a formal consultation process. And as an immigration lawyer, this is by far the best method that I appreciate, because it gives me a chance to ask all the questions that I need to make sure I'm giving you proper legal advice. So if you're one of those individuals that's here and you're like, oh, Mark, you didn't answer my question, you can go over right now, book the consult with me tomorrow. I've got a lot of spaces open. Chanel and Cedric have spaces open as well. Alicia's on the road right now, and we can really, really give you advice and give you guidance and direction for the whole immigration strategy you're pursuing, not just even the little questions that you have. So strongly consider that. Also, the cart is open, like I've said, for the courses, and you can see them right here. So express entry, it's open. The masterclass is August 1st to the 4th. The postgrad 18-month extension course, and all of this is on the Canadian Immigration Institute.com website. Link is below. This here is a special, when the minister announces the details of it, it's going to be through new portal. I'm going to go in live. I'm going to record the lesson content for the full course live and make that available for people. So I recommend that you slide in, and it's only $25 to view the live access as I'm recording it. So it's like you're in studio with me as I'm recording the course, or like you are attending class. You're showing up at Canadian Immigration Institute, and I am demonstrating live how I complete my applications, and the material will be edited and revamped and included with other documents and available as a recording for people who purchase the full access to the course. But I wanted to make it available because I know that many of you don't have money. You haven't been working, you've been struggling. And so this is a way that I can give back. So click on the link, make sure that you subscribe and join me if you are one of those individuals that is really, really struggling with the fact your postgrad work permit is expiring and you're not sure what to do, and you can't afford to screw this up. You can't afford to make a mistake. If you go to the link, you'll see here I've got a very detailed breakdown of the pricing options and how it works. So go check that out. And yeah, that is it. All right, I think I've covered off everything, you guys. So we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for joining me. Remember, tomorrow, 11 a.m., I'll be back. And yeah, take care, hang in there. And I hope you guys are enjoying this beautiful weather that we're having. All right, take care.